Breaking news from the 2023 National Day Rally. Now, how is this announcement going to impact the market? And if you are looking to buy a Prime or Plus HDB flat, what is it that you should be looking out for? Let me share with you my thoughts. Ready? Let's go. Now, here's how I'm going to break down the video. I'm first off going to start with explaining the details of the announcement, or at least whatever has been released right now. Secondly, I'm going to talk about why I think they did this. Thirdly, what is the likely impact that this announcement is going to have on the wider HDB market? And lastly, how is it going to impact you? For example, if you are looking to buy a Prime or Plus flat, if you're an existing HDB owner, or if you may potentially be looking to buy a HDB resale flat in the future. So first up, let's talk about the details of the announcement. So the crux of the entire announcement really centers around how the previous classification of mature and non-mature estate being somewhat obsolete in the market today. And I very much agree with that, because some of the so-called non-mature estates are now pretty good, right? If you take a look at Punggol, I myself have done quite a fair bit of sales in Punggol, and some of the newer flats in Punggol are very, very nice. Take for example the recent one that we just sold, and that managed to fetch above $900,000. So now the line of separation between mature and non-mature estates have become very, very fine and very, very blurred. So which is why the government then had to step in to sort of create this new category of flats called the Plus flats lah, right? So previously it was mature and non-mature estates leading on to prime location housing scheme, and also basically the normal housing scheme. So now this would be a separation, a further separation from the basically the non-mature estate schemes, right? And this is very much, I liken it to, I was thinking about it, and I liken it to the creation of the premium economy class because of the need to have some product segregation, right? And also because, right, there's going to be a lot of, if you think a bit further, the reason why the government has to do all of this is because 10 years back, number one, there weren't as many MRT stations as what we see today, right? In the last 10 years and in the next 10 years, we're going to see actually a lot of MRT stations coming up. And that is also the first reason why in non-mature estates, the prices have come up significantly, because the transport system is a lot better than what it used to be. If you take a look at Punggol, right now we're going to have significantly more MRT stations opening up over there. We're going to have MRT stations crisscrossing around some of the so-called non-mature estates. So with those estates now becoming a lot more popular and becoming a lot more convenient, and also the government in terms of planning, they are very, very clever, because a lot of the times there's a lot of empty land around this kind of new MRT stations. If you're familiar with Hougang, right, the new Hougang MRT coming up, there's going to be huge, the new one which is the new line, don't talk about the old one, but even if the old one right across the road is big piece of empty land, the government plans way, way ahead, and they have kept those lands empty. And so I think why they had to create this is because I think they will gradually start to release more and more of those lands to sell. Another good example is Dover, beside Dover MRT's huge plot. They have launched one already, there's still more plots around there. Or if you travel down the east-west line coming from the east, if you look around beside Eunos MRT, there's big plots of land. If you look beside Aljunied MRT, also big open air car park. Paya Lebar maybe not so much, Bedok also not so much already. But if you go and look around, right? There's actually a lot of land around new MRT stations or even existing MRT stations, so they are planning one step ahead. So now back to this. I'm going to first start off with how they want to likely classify all of that. So in the northeast and west, they will still primarily be standard, and then some plus lah, right? Actually, very straightforward. This will likely be those that's immediately beside the MRT station. And as we come closer to the city center, they will mostly be plus, and also have some prime ones lah, right? I think the prime ones will then be closer to the Greater Southern Waterfront, and so that's probably another reason why they had to implement this, because we're going to start seeing developments coming up in the Greater Southern Waterfront area very, very soon. Maybe the immediate ones that has the sea view may be classified as prime, followed by those maybe a little bit further back with the views blocked, they may be classified as plus. Okay. Now, diving into the details, maybe before I dive into this, start off with this. So, what are the restrictions involved? What differs in the new plus flats? Okay, first off, 10 years MOP. Okay, later on in the video I'll share with you my thoughts with regards to a 10-year MOP being ascribed to a HDB flat. Right? Tighter restrictions for resale, more subsidies for the plus flats to moderate their prices. A subsidy recovery, okay, will be applied to the resale price to take back extra discounts. Income ceiling on resale buyers, and of course the last one is just a caveat lah. And also in the last part, the one in bold, I think this is good news for singles, because they were basically the group that was, they are actually always the group that's left out from a lot of different rules and things like that. So I'm happy for them that the government has finally addressed them on that, but it's still a 2-room flexi lah. But you know what? One step at a time. At least we are getting something out of it already lah. Huh? So now details of the new announcement. So this, like I said, right, premium economy lah of HDB flats, right, with standard being economy and prime being like your business first class, and this is the middle one. So they haven't really designate which areas, which projects will be classified as plus. I think that's good lah. They want to keep people guessing, because you know they don't want people to go and hold up their BTO announcement, hoping that their BTO application, hoping that that one I want that one. So without first classifying which areas will be plus prime, you know, they want to force people to go like, or if I want, I just apply first. I cannot try to game the system. I don't want to try to wait and predict what's gonna happen and then, you know, hold up all their plans. More so for you to move on with your plans lah. So the key thing over here is there's not much details being published, right? Which is expected lah. It's only a 1-hour speech. He wouldn't go into the nitty-gritty. I do expect MND to publish more details further on. But actually, it's going to be very easy to predict what are the likely details going to be, because in terms of prime location housing, like you see, the details are already out, and this being the middle one, it will likely be slightly less, if not very similar to the prime one, but I do expect it to be slightly less. So now here's my predictions. Okay, so 10-year is the same lah for the two. Okay, so here has subsidy recovery upon resale. Okay, same thing for PLH. How much? Okay, so I managed to find one thanks to Red Brick, it's not Red Brick, I think Seedly over here. It stated that to claw back about 6% of the resale price for the first sale of flat. So this is what you can expect, 6% lah. So 6%, let me just calculate. If you sell it, let's say at 900,000 times 6%, that's a $54,000 clawback. Okay, and if it's how it's going to be like with resale levy. It will be a requirement to pay that in cash. Now, what do you need to look out for this? Because a lot of the times when people need to pay resale levy, so if you are looking to upgrade to a, for example, a EC, in the old scheme, not old scheme, like in the scheme that has resale levy, right? A lot of the times, some people are stuck because they have to pay the resale levy first in cash, okay? And then they have not enough cash to pay for the 5% down payment that is required for the EC. So they then become a bit tight there, because a lot of the times with the EC, if you have the 5% cash to pay first, you can secure the unit, but then again, you also need to pay the 5% resale levy if you need to sell. So sometimes the cash can be quite tight. But now here, this thing is, even if you're going to upgrade into, let's say, a private, you will still have to pay this subsidy clawback in cash, and that's going to be 54,000. Of course, so now you really have to think through it properly, because I'm jumping a little ahead because as ideas come to my head, I'm just gonna say it out. If you are looking to buy these flats, okay, number one, the exit price that you want to sell at is going to be capped, because the buyer will have to fulfill certain requirements. For example, right, they have to fulfill also the income cap, 14,000. Minimally one guy has to be Singaporean, so on and so forth. So the price is going to be capped, right? It will likely still go up, but it's going to be capped. So let's just say in the end you're going to make, like, let's say $200,000 in cash, $300,000 in cash. You need to calculate 54,000 goes out, your balance about 150,000. You need to use that for your 5% down payment in terms of your cash, because a lot of the deals that I do, most people, they take the cash proceeds from the sale of their subsidized house, BTO, EC, to pay for the upgrade. Now you have to then factor in 5-6% going out now, and whether or not you still have enough with the lesser profit margin involved already. Then you want to think, which one better? The one without the rule, 5-year MOP, or this one with so many rules and a 10-year MOP. Another thing to think about is, because if you then use a lot of CPF to go and pay for the house, especially 10 years, there's a pretty good chance you have utilized a lot of CPF and go and pay off your loan, as with the very popular, very the conventional advice, right, from a lot of our senior generation, to faster go and pay off your CPF, go and pay off, you likely then will be accruing a lot of CPF accrued interest. Part of me is guessing that actually a lot of them would have very, very little cash out after 10 years. And then 6% gone. Then end up they have very, very little cash. They may not be able to upgrade if the price doesn't really shoot up that much, because of the restrictions in the resale market. Okay, so coming back to the announcement, these plus ones, so the likely rule, I don't think will differ a lot, because the main thing is already stated there, the 10-year MOP, the resale buyers being restricted by the rule. So I'm not quite sure how much they can water down the restrictions for the prime location housing scheme for the plus flats. Maybe in terms of the subsidy clawback, maybe not 6%, slightly a bit lesser, because they give you less discount also . Now, moving on to the second part, why I think they had to do this. Okay, now, of course, they have mentioned the key reasons, or on a policy level, why they had to do this, right, to ensure that HDB and subsidized housing continues to be fair and affordable, right? And I do agree with that. But now on the more on the ground perspective of why they had to do it, right? I have two reasons. Number one, it's the optics of the whole thing, right? Yes, PM Lee did mention that they had to sort of try to do away with the whole lottery effect of the whole thing. Now, the fact of the matter is there will always be some unfairness around. You can't make everything fair. We are not communists, right? So there will always be unfairness. There will always be some unhappiness for those who didn't manage to get it. So what they try to avoid is negative news, right? When news comes out to say, wow, HDB flat hitting 1.2 million, people then realize that those folks bought for $400,000, $500,000. Even if they are not a participant in the market, they're not looking to buy or sell, they suddenly become very annoyed, very angry about, we all hear these kind of things about unhappiness with the government and that kind of thing, just because of headline news like that. They are not doing their job. How can they do this? It's gonna impact the younger generations. How our kids gonna afford all of this, right? And it's because headlines. That's the reason why headlines exist, right? To sensationalize news, to capture attention and that kind of thing. By reducing the chances of headlines like that happening, with the institution of these new rules, they try to avoid the negative optics of the whole lottery effect of the thing. Now, actually, now that you hear what he say, you really go and analyze the word he said, to reduce the lottery effect, right? That really means that they are basically capping out how much potential capital appreciation you're gonna get for those flats. Again, right now I'm gonna address those of you who are looking to buy prime location, prime flats or plus flats, thinking that you will profit out of it moving forward. I would really recommend you not have that thought process in your mind. He's already said to reduce that. And I'm going to give you some numbers for perspective as well. Okay, so your buyers will be limited by their income cap. Okay, so with, those above 14,000, they will not be able to purchase your flat. Above 14,000 in combined income, they will not be able to purchase your flat. They will be subjected to the mortgage servicing ratio rule. And with that, they are only allowed to use 30% of their income to service the mortgage. And that is going to result in a loan eligibility, if they were to take it up with HDB, of approximately $925,000 loan eligibility. And that's going to work out to a purchase price of 1 million, 1.08 million. So if you're buying it, especially at $700,000-800,000, which is what PM Lee has shown, the cap gains really isn't a lot. Now, you then have to think whether would it be more reasonable, or would it be a better idea to perhaps get something that's not so restrictive in terms of their rules in their resale market, especially considering you need to lock in yourself for additional 10 years. And so moving on to the second point on why I think they did this, is because they are looking to split the demand. So for those of you, or for those buyers, they are intending to split. For those buyers that are looking to, just settle down, make use of this first house as a stepping stone onto their second property, and they want to do it quickly, right? They will then pick the standard flats with only a 5-year MOP. But for those of them that wants to prioritize location, and they probably enter it thinking that they're going to stay in this house for a long time, which is their objective for establishing a scheme like that, then it kind of splits out the demand. So what happens when you split out the demand? The competition for the different flats and projects come down, and so those that want to get it get a higher chance to get it by splitting up the demand. So on that note, very clever on the government's perspective. Now, moving on to the third point on what do I think will happen to the market in light of this announcement. Truth to be told, I was hoping that PM Lee announces the lifting of that 15 months wait out period for whoever is looking to buy a HDB after they sell their private property, especially when he said that now that HDB prices are calmer. Notice a very careful use of the word calmer instead of coming down, because he doesn't want existing HDB owners to panic and start selling their flats, right? When the PM says prices are coming down, so he used the word calmer, which is quite clever. Now maybe that's the word that I will use in the future, calmer. Okay, anyways, so he didn't announce that, but I'm gonna put a prediction out there that they will lift that rule within the year. So maybe they'll announce it in NDP Rally 2024, and if PM Lee is still the one delivering that news by then. Yeah, but within a year, I think they will lift that restriction. So now, coming back to the point, right? What is the likely impact of this announcement on the market? Simply put it, I don't think it will impact the market much. And let me explain why. So now, we break it down into demand and supply, okay? And this is very much a demand side factor. Okay, so why is it not a supply side factor? So supply side factors will impact prices if supply go up or go down, right? And this has nothing to do with that, right? It's not causing supply to go up or supply to come down. So that's out. Now on the demand side, demand for HDB flats are split into two segments, right? Demand for new HDB flats or resale HDB flats. The one that will really impact prices immediately will be demand for resale HDB flats, and that has not been so, and this announcement doesn't really impact that much, okay? So now if we wrap that all together, that is the reason why I don't think this announcement will have a material impact on HDB prices, at least in the near future. And lastly, point number 4, how does this announcement impact you? And I'm going to split them into several different segments, and of course the first most important segment to address are for those of you who are looking to buy either a prime or a plus HDB flat. Now, two things that you need to look out for. Number 1, if you're looking to go into that for capital appreciation, they have made it pretty clear that that's not gonna happen, or the margins will be very, very little. So earlier on in the video, I talked about how the mortgage servicing rules will cap how much someone that is eligible to buy your house can pay for your house based on loan. Okay, so now I'm going to break down this even further for you in terms of who actually can buy from you, or also to help you understand who are paying that kind of record price HDBs, $1 million and above kind of HDBs in the market right now based on my experience, okay? Number 1 is those people who are right sizing from private properties, from landed properties, right? They are cashing out tons of money. They can afford to pay the high prices, and that is the reason why the government came out with the rule to try to strip out that demand from the market in hopes that the market cools down. If not, previously they were seeing way too many record-breaking deals, $1 million plus dollar deals in the market. That, like I said also earlier on in the video, is something that the government is trying very, very hard to control. So those guys will not be able to buy plus or prime houses because they will have to wait 30 months before. After they sell their private property before they can buy these houses. Yeah, that is, they have stated that will be a rule for the reselling of these houses. So that strips out that demand. Second, upgraders, right? Who can afford to pay high prices for this kind of flats in the resale market? Upgraders, those that have earned a pot of gold in their first house and maybe they are looking to move to a more central location. Now, most of them are looking, if they are looking to upgrade from their current house, most of them they are looking for a bigger size or better location, but primarily for a bigger size. So if but likelihood they are already in a 4-room, 93 square meter, 1,000 square feet you are currently in a 93 square meter, 1,000 square feet unit. It wouldn't be much of an upgrade for them, especially in terms of size. It will purely be those that are looking to upgrade in terms of location. So again, very narrow pool of buyers, and also have to consider that they cannot burst the 14K combined household income. If not, they also wouldn't be able to buy. Yeah. So next, the group of people that are willing to pay this kind of high prices are high income singles. So again, with the rules instituted, singles they are limited to 7K income ceiling. So somebody with a income ceiling of about 7K would not be paying you the kind of prices that you have paid for your house, especially if you are a 4-room or a 5-room flat over there. 7K, the kind of loan they can take, how much extra they need to top up in order to buy, even at your break-even price, is very, very hard for me to fathom. Okay, so where does that leave us, right? That basically leaves us with first timers lah. First timers, number one, that won't go and buy another BTO for themselves, right? Then pay the kind of subsidized price. So it's first timers that, number one, are urgent to get a house. And urgent to get a 10-year-old house, because you have served out your 10-year MOP. Okay? And next thing, they cannot burst the 14K income ceiling. And secondly, because if you want to sell high, they will likely have to borrow money from their parents, because they are first timers. So now, if you're already going to borrow, so if you want to sell, let's say 1.2 million, you buy 800,000 already, you stay 10 years, you likely want to sell at least 1.2 million dollars. They only can loan, and based on if they are first timers, 100K CPF, they can loan 900K, they can afford 1 mil. The extra 200,000 borrow from parents. Now, go and think about it. If they're already going to borrow $200,000, $300,000, they might as well then just go and buy a condo already. The parents will ask them that, are you sure you're going to be happy to lend you money? Are you sure you want to go and take that and go and buy a 10-year-old HDB? So now think about it. I'm struggling here to go and visualize a pool of buyers that will buy this kind of prime location housing flats. I really struggle to think and visualize a group of buyers like that right now. So please do not go into these houses thinking of making a huge profit, right? Maybe breaking even on your interest expense on 10 years, maybe that's roughly what you can expect. But if you really want to make money, my suggestion is to then just go and take the standard ones with the 5-year MOP. Okay? Second advice for those that are looking to buy this kind of plus or prime location housing ones is that do bear in mind 10 years is a really long time. And you also got to factor in the build times required before you even collect your keys. So if you are in your late 20s, for example, looking to get one of these houses, right? By the time you finish serving your MOP, you'll be in your 40s already. You totally skip past your 30s now. Based on my experience, a lot of them, once they served out their 5-year MOP, people that have walked this path before you, they've served out their 5-year MOP, they are shifting for reasons other than just simply wanting a better location, right? Or simply wanting to upgrade, right? They are looking for needs-based moves like kids' schools. So now think about it. If your kid hits the 4, 5, 6-year-old mark, they have to likely shift house for school purposes. You can't do it. Yes, you can go and rent somewhere else, but then you got to leave your current house empty. But your only option is renting. You can't even rent out your HDB to go and rent over there, right? Not allowed. Okay, so you have to then go and think about that, right? Kids' schools, right? A huge reason why people shift their houses in their mid-30s. Okay, then your career is going to progress significantly. And then by the time you hit your 40 years, you can no longer take the 30-year maximum loan tenure if you want to upgrade to a private property. You are in your mid-40s, early to mid-40s already by the time you finish your MOP. So with all of that considered, please go and think about it. Honestly, I'm going to put it out there, I'm not a big fan of the 10-year MOP because it just locks you in. Not just, 10 years, of course, it's a long time, but this is your prime 10-year in your life, your 30s to 40s. You don't want to come out there with all the regrets. Of course, some of you may be thinking, maybe we're going to appeal for early MOP, but yeah, later they're going to call back on all those kind of things. And so now at the end of the day, is it really worth the while? I don't think so. Yeah, personally, I wouldn't recommend it. Okay, so now the other group of people and what this means to them, okay, existing HDB owners. So now if you are, who will benefit from this, okay? Those that, like I said earlier in the video, those that are owning properties that you think will be classified under plus or prime moving forward, okay? Now because next time any newer supply coming in will all be limited to all those rules. So that will then cause some backflow of demand into your unit, especially if your unit is haven't hit MOP or going to hit MOP. Okay, because you are then out in the resale market on the just hit 5 years mark. Any supply come in and by the time they finish MOP your age will be actually not too far off from them. Okay, so you'll be slightly older, but when you come to MOP, and even your resale buyers when they hit MOP, it will still be about there. So you're sitting on good potential, in my opinion. If your flat you deem it right valuable or you deem it that it will be anything, like if you were to come out 5 years later, it will be classified as a plus or a prime flat. Yeah, you will have a good pool of buyers in the future because people cannot buy the new supply, they will then come and buy yours. Okay, so if you are a next group of buyers, if you are a buyer looking to buy resale HDB, okay, and you're looking for something that can give you a bit of capital appreciation or can give you some capital protection moving forward, what I said earlier applies to you too. Okay, so you buy a freshly MOP prime location unit that is not limited by all these rules. So basically whatever is in the market right now you get something like that. By the time you serve out your 5-year MOP, the new supply haven't even served out their MOP. So anybody that want to buy resale in those areas will then still come to buy your unit. Yeah, so a pretty good exit strategy over there. So I've covered who's looking to buy such houses, prime houses and plus houses, existing HDB owners and future HDB buyers. So if there's any of you watching this video that I haven't covered, you have questions about it, right, drop it down into the comments. I will probably do a follow-up video after this once more details are out. This is really just a consolidation on my immediate thoughts. I'm shooting this right after the rally, just a consolidation of my thoughts. So bear with me if some parts there's a lot of filler words and that kind of thing. If not, thank you for watching the video. If you like the content, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification button somewhere in this video, and I'll catch you guys soon. Bye bye.